سلام دوستان، حالتون چطور؟ خوش اومدید به یه ویدیوی دیگه. این ویدیو یه واکترویی هستا. حالا بریم بازی رو انجام بدیم بیشتر متوجه میشید. فقط قبل از اینکه بگم چه بازی میخوایم انجام بدیم، میخوام بگم اگه این ویدیو رو تا ته دیدید و تا ته دوست داشتید و تا ته لذت بردید، سابسکرایب و لایک فراموش نشه. نظراتتون هم مثل همیشه برام کامنت کنید. بازی که میخوایم انجام بدیم خدمتتون عرضم که بازی استنلی پارابل دیلاکس ادیشنشه. بازی استنلی پارابل سال 2013 اومد. یه بازی مال یه نفر اگه اشتباه نکنم که یه روایت داستان عجیب غریبی داشت. حالا یه نسخه دیلاکس ادیشن دادن که یه حالت ریمستر تور رزولوشن های بالاتر رو ساپورت میکنه و کنار اون یه چند تا اندینگ به بازی اضافه شده. حالا چرا میگم چند تا اندینگ؟ چون بعد برید بازی رو ببینید. بازی شامل انواع و اقسام اندینگ هست با توجه به تصمیم شما. و بیشتر از این اضافه گویی نمی کنم. سابسکرایب فراموش نشه. بریم که ویدیو رو داشته باشیم. بریم. خب این از بازی استنلی پارابل. بریم شروع کنیم دیگه، الکی لفتش ندیم، چون به هر حال ترجیح میدم این اپیزود کوتاه‌تر از اپیزودهای دیگه باشه. ما بعد کلی اپیزودهای خب میگه این داستان این مردی به نام استنلیه.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job.
خب
Stanley was happy.
اومد گفت این توی کارخونه
And then one day
کار
something very
میکنه.
peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
خب من اینجا استاپ میکنم. اومد گفت استنلی کارمند شماره 427 توی کمپانی، یه کارش اینه که فقط دکمه ها رو فشار بده. تو رو کامپیوتر رو اسکرین میاد که چه دکمه ای و چقدر باید فشار بده. اون از همه چی راضیه. یه فضای خیلی بد و ترسیم کرد. گفت استنلی خوشحاله چون اومد گفت هر روز و هر ماه و هر سال کارش فشار دادن این دکمه هاست و استنلی خوشحاله. حالا گفت الان امروز یه روز عجیبه، یه روز خاصیه، چون الان حدود 1 ساعت هیچ دستوری روی صفحه مانیتور برای استنلی نیومده و الان استنلی آخرین جملهش این بود که استنلی پا میشه و از اتاق میره بیرون. یه حالت راوی داستان ماست انگار. خب از اتاق میریم بیرون. کارمند 429.
All his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
خب گفت استنلی میخواد بره به میتینگ روم.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
داشتم بیشتر نگاه میکنم، میگفت مهم نیست چقدر نگاه کنه ولی باز کسی نیست. با این بسته است. خب میتینگ روم نمیدونم کجاست ولی مسیری هم نداریم اون صورت.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office. Stanley clicked on literally every single door in the office because he doesn't pick up well on cues from his environment.
داره کارهایی که ما میکنیم و روایت میکنه به شکل لحظه ای. در صدا میدم.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
گفت استنلی که اومد اینجا رفت به سمت اتاق سمت چپ، ولی به نظر راستم میشه رفت.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
اومد گفت اتاق اشتباهی رفت، شاید میخواد بره به اتاق غذاخوری، نمیدونم چیزی. خب
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
خب
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
گفت استنلی برای اینکه برگرده به مسیرش در سمت چپ رو رفت، ولی اینجا روبرومونم بازه. من که نمیرم.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
گفت استنلی یعنی استنلی در پیدا کردن جهت.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
الان داره با خودمون صحبت میکنه.
I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about... But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
بازی تموم شد همونجوری که دیدید. من فکر کردم میتونیم بپریم تو این بازی. اشتباه فکر کردم. دیدم آزادی عمل داده تو انجام دادن کارا، اومدم بپرم اونجا یادم نیومد اسپیس رو قبلش تست نکرده بودم. این یه اندینگ. چون اگه خب دوباره همین میخواد بگه. این دفعه سریعتر میریم چون این دیگه به هر حال رو دور تکرار میفته دیگه. ولی اون یه اندینگش بود. گفت استنلی خواست نشون بده که با اون خودکشی که ما کردیم نشون بده که قدرت دست اونه. من نمیام دایی، نمیرم اینجا. یه بارم مسیرشو میریم ببینیم چی میگه.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
خب
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot.
اینجا شروع میکنه با خودمون صحبت کردن، میشه باله. من دشمن تو نیستم.
Someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time.
یه داستان درباره توه. خیلی دوست
Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
اومد پریدیم از اون بالا پایین. گفت واقعا یه ذره به فکر بقیه هم نیستی بابا، من شاید خوبه تو میخوام، خیر تو میخوام. حالا اومد گفت بذار من یه شانس دوباره به من بده، من بهت نشون بدم که من خیر تو میخوام. خیلی باحاله، خیلی بامزه است. بوم 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 بوم.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
اوه
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood.
برامون گردن عقب.
Through the red door.
باش.
I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
نمیرم. نمیپریم که نمیپره بده. در آبی. ای دهن سرویس، در آبی پشت سرمون بود.
All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms.
عجب چیزیه.
Is this...
اینو با همی گفت انقدر ما اصرار کردیم که بریم تو در آبی، گفت بیا اینم در آبی. من اصلا وقت نکردم اینجا رو، این قسمت مپ رو درست کنم. بیا ببین چیه.
What you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out
گو ارزشی داشت
for you?
داستانو نابود
You
کنی.
think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where...
از دست اون عصبانی شد چون میخواستی داستانی روایت کنه. گفت انقدر نذاشتی داستانم روایت کنم. گفت چی دوست داری توی بازی؟ ماشین دوست داری؟ درخت دوست داری؟ بعد آوردمون اینجا. گفت اصلا یه آپشن دیگه.
Take it for a spin. Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
آقا ما 5 میدیم به بازی. اینجا دیگه.
You see, I knew I was onto something. Where do these flashes of inspiration come from? How did I know the game needed a third door? Well, it's instinct mostly, a calling in your gut. I really couldn't say where the idea came from, except that I felt it in my soul. You can't teach that, Stanley. Don't even try. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
خب چی میگه؟ World Wide Leaderboard. چی هستی؟ Good old O'Neill. 2 ثانیه چی الان؟ دیتاهای بازی رو داره میده. خب This is you. 7 ساعت چی؟ Your objective. به من گفت شما تو نفر آخری. باشه بابا تو خوبی. Why not ask some friends for help. داره مسخرم میکنه به خاطر تالا هر چی نمیدونم. نمیشه شکوندش. میشه داره اینجا.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors?
100%.
Honest answers, please.
گفت این آمار به کمک کرد که بری تو اون جهتی که من بهت میگم.
Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some play testing. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up. In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the
آقا من
demands of
هر
life.
گفت با فشار دادن این دکمه باعث میشه بچه به این آتیشه نرسه. من هر کاری بخواد و میخوام انجام ندم.
Once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
کر شد.
You heartless bastard.
فوش
Did you
میدی؟
do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if
Spite
it's the
you.
latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done.
بعد گفت تو از بچه ها بدت میاد یا میخوای حال منو بگیری؟ اصلا من دیگه هیچ ایده‌ای ندارم چه مرگت تو. اصلا من دیگه نیستم.
It's over.
چراغا رو
Thank you
بس.
for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here?
گفت اصلا
Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
کجا رفتیم؟ یه بازی دیگه برامون پلی کرد. گفت بازی منو دوست داری؟
Aha, fascinating. What do you think this game is about, Stanley? What's our backstory? What is our motivation? Well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man spying on innocent
ما اومدیم
civilians below
مثلا.
you from up high in your creep tower, perhaps for some sort of twisted erotic purpose. Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
اومد گفت آقا تو بازی منو دوست نداری، بذار یه بازی دیگه برات پلی کنم. بعد اومد گفت محیط رو دوست داری، بیا اصلا بریم تو محیط بچریم. پلاشون بره بگو. وای محیطو ره محیطو. محیطو داشته باشیم. این بازی خیلی شنیدم پایان داره، حالا من نمیدونم شنیدم کوتاه‌ترن پایاناش یا این
No, it can't be.
چی شد؟ کجا داری میره؟
It is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly block it off. Oh, thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call. You nearly wandered off into that thing, that big open, just wandering around, no right or wrong directions, no path to follow. You can just go in any... Oh, thank heavens we avoided it. We're out of the woods now, Stanley. Okay, I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another game.
اومد یهو بازی رو دید گفت این یه بازی اوپن ورده، بیا بریم ببند دیوارا رو بکشون بیا بریم. الان قراره یه بازی دیگه بذاره برامون.
Okay, I think this will be just the thing.
خب بازی بعدی راکت لیگه.
Wonderful. See, this is exactly what I had in mind. Just a nice big box for you to run around in. There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here. Now this is game design. Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally impressed.
خب الان آوردمون تو راکت لیگ.
Okay, so what exactly do we do here? Let's see. There are lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball. Oh, what fun. We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together. Yes, I think surely we must. Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
به توپ انداخت. بوم. وای باورم نمیشه دارم چی کار میکنم.
Hold on, what are you doing? Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back.
صداش محو شد افتادیم پایین. ای بابا چی میگه؟ گفت اینجا نمیتونم باید صحبت کنم اون جایی که افتادی. دوباره افتادم پایین تر. کجا اومدم؟ از اینجا اومدم؟ دوباره برگشتیم به کارخونه. این چی شد تو بازی؟ برگشتیم به سفر در زمان کردیم. گم شدم من اینجا که. بریم اون سمت. من میرسم تو اتاق خودمون. نور لایت. کامپیوترها روشنه ولی هیچ چراغی روشن نیست. کامپیوترها روشن. اتاق 427 رو بیرون اتاق اون شکلی نبوده. خب شده؟ گیر کردیم تو بازی. من کاری نکردم.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
چی شد؟ یه حالتی صحبت کرد که انگار دیگه از استنلی خبر نداره. گفت اون دیگه تصمیم استنلی بود، تصمیمی که گرفت. این یه اندینگ بود. چه اندینگ طولانی بود. یعنی فرای انتظارم اندینگ بود. حالا ما تمام کارهایی که کردیم آخرش هم گفت دیگه، گفت من نمیدونم استنلی با تصمیمش خوشحاله یا نه، ولی من برمیگردم این داستان. حالا این دفعه بریم هر چی میگه گوش کنیم. این چی میگه؟ خب باشه بابا، قبولت داریم، ما دوست داریم. خب ما اومدیم از در سمت چپ رفتیم اومدیم اینجا. خب اومدیم تو کنفرانس روم، کسی نیست.
Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office,
hoping
he might find an answer there. Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
هر چی میگه ما گوش میدیم.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
کدوم بره؟ Money in the morning, money in the evening, money for breakfast, money crisp, money crisp. چه صدا نمیدونی؟ بریم آقا بریم، هرچی قرار بود این دفعه هر کاری گفت ما بگیم چشم. این باس آفیس اینجاست.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him?
میگه استنلی، این داستان خود این آقا رو داریم روایت میکنیم دیگه. الان اومد گفت چی؟ گفت استنلی از اتاقش رفت بیرون، دید هیچکی تو دفتر نیست، رفت سراغ رفت بره سراغ کنفرانس روم، کسی تو کنفرانس روم نیست، رفت طبقه بالا که بره سراغ رئیسش، دید رئیسش هم نیست. حالا میخواد بدونه چه رازی پشت این داستانه.
Was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to...
رمزو عملا به ما گفت، بعد تو روایت داستانش گفت با فشار دادن رندوم دکمه ها فهمید.
By sheer luck, amazing, he stepped into the newly opened passageway.
خب رفتیم پایین. نوپ. کجا داریم میریم؟ چی داره میشه؟ بازی شبیه لودینگ رفیه.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Mind Control داشتم میکنم. چی شد؟
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. did he have the strength to find out?
میگه چه رازی پشت اینجا، پشت این ساختمون قرار داره. استنلی داره میره که بفهمه. چه کامera روشن.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each
427.
bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
اینجای ما 420 ایمپلوی 427 برو رو تصویر. اینه. خب بعدش اینه دیگه. بذار این دفعه با دقت متوجه باشم. همونه دیگه. آره خب چیکار کنیم حالا؟ این باز شده؟ ای بابا. خب الان اینجا چی نشون میده؟
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Oh.
No.
He refused to believe it.
He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control?
Never.
It was unthinkable, wasn't it?
یه نکته جالب وقتی داشتیم خلافش میرفتیم یه لحن دیگه میگفت. الان که داریم داستانی که میخواسته روایت کنه رو میریم یه شکل حماسی و
Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his
entire life
utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
خب الان ما تصمیم این روشنش کنیم یا خاموشش کنیم. چی شد؟ مایند کنترل رو خاموش کرد.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over?
Was it over?
Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel.
اینم داستان زیبای
The life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
به به وارد طبیعت بشیم، از طبیعت لذت ببریم.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy. End of this story. خب این دوباره تموم شد. اینم 3 تا اندینگ. به نظرم همینجا چون اندینگ های دیگه هم داره، خیلی اندینگ داره، فکر کنم 23 تا اندینگ داره، کوچیک و بزرگ. یعنی مثل اون پریدنه سریع تموم میشه، مثل این دوتا
که من رفتم. فکر کنم این دوتا طولانی ترین اندینگاش بودن، یکی مسیر خود بازی، یکی هم ضد مسیر خود بازی. خب این تا اینجا بریم که داشته باشیم. امیدوارم که از این ویدیو هم خوشتون اومده باشه. اینم از یه واکتروی از بازی استنلی پارابل دیلاکس ادیشنشه که تازه عرضه شده. این بازی 23 تا پایان داره فکر کنم. ما 3 تاشو الان دیدیم، 2 تا از پایان اصلی هاشو در واقع دیدیم فکر کنم. این پایان‌های بزرگ بازی رو دیدیم. بازی واقعا جالبه، یعنی دوست دارید بشینید ساعت ها این روایت داستانی که چون گوینده‌ش هم خالق خود بازیه، این گوینده بازی بیان میکنه رو بشینید گوش بدید، چون قشنگ باتون انگار داره صحبت میکنه. حالا در هر صورت امیدوارم که ویدیو خوشتون اومده باشه. لایک و کامنت و سابسکرایب اصلا فراموش نشه. تا ویدیوی بعد، فعلا خدافظ.